Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and this morning I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Edward Elgar Publishing Limited, who are a family business of publishers, and they specialise in the top end of the academic research books for certainly law and other areas, and I'm interested primarily in the legal stuff they produce. One book that's come to us is very, very interesting. It's this book called Handbook on the Economics of Copyright, and it's got as a subtitle a guide for students and teachers. It's been edited by Richard Watt, and my wife Elizabeth and I talked about the book. We've written a review which is on the web and in the journals, and we've said for lecturers, teachers and students, and given it that sort of title because that's what this book is about. It's actually a relatively short book. It's a hardback. It runs to 340 odd pages, the front, the spine, and you can see the back, which gives you a little bit of a quote about what the book's all about. Then let me just show you the back of it. There is a shortish index at the back. Then after that you have actually, unlike some where there's a bibliography, you actually have with each chapter, for instance, let's go to the middle of it, chapter 7, you have the heading, then you have the standard introduction that runs through with quite a lot of information. Then at the back you have a conclusion there, and then you have all the notes that go with it. There are not, as with some of the publications, there are no footnotes at the bottom, so you have to go to the back of each chapter for the notes that will help you with your research. For instance, that's an example there. You've got notes and then some references as well, which are basically the bibliography, if I can put it that way. Now let me show you the front. That's the front page, so you've got some idea of what's in it. Then you've got, it's split up into 6 parts. The economic theory of copyright, starting off with. Then you've got the legal structure of copyright and the public domain. Then licensing and authors' earnings, very interesting one for many people. Copywriting collectives. Then copying and copyright policy, and other issues in the economics of copyright law. Then you have the list of the contributors, because it's been edited and there are people who've submitted articles to the editor. Then there's a very useful introduction which sets out what the purpose of this is, again with notes and references. Then we go straight into the book itself, part 1, and then you can see the structure and how it runs through. There's no paragraph numbering or anything like that, and it's a very interesting book, and I think it's of interest to a very large number of people today, because copyright law is an area that a lot of people don't really understand. They haven't in the past, but it's become much more important as we have changed the way we do things with the internet, mobile telephones, cameras, CDs and computers and so forth. So everything has changed very dramatically, and it is important to know what your rights are, because people do produce things which are great, and they really have to have some sort of protection for the ideas and the contents of their intellectual property. So that's really where we are today in the year 2014. Now, as I say, we've given it an interesting, very straightforward title, because the book is for both lecturers and tutors and for students. And this is what we say about the book. It presents students and teachers with some extremely interesting analyses of copyright and economic theory from a variety of expert viewpoints, and it traces the linkages by which each supports the other. What, asks General Editor Richard Watt, in this clear and accessible consideration of copyright and economics, does the one have to do with the other? If you're unsure or need some high-powered informational ammunition to support your case on various aspects of copyright, then you need this book. Watt explains that copyright, a mechanism designed to protect intellectual property, is also, quote, an incentive mechanism designed to encourage creative activities and to ensure that the outputs of creative activities are able to be effectively and efficiently transacted in standard market environments, so that they may in the end be enjoyed by consumers. And economic theory, he adds, views copyright as a mechanism by which social welfare may be increased. An interesting side effect, if you like. The book is logically divided, as I've said, into 6 parts and 18 chapters, beginning with the basic economic theory of copyright. A total of 12 experts in the field from top universities worldwide have contributed to its contents, and it covers all or most of the areas that you as a student need to know about, including, for example, performers' rights, online music streaming, internet piracy, visual art, licensing, and of course much more. The intention behind each chapter is to provide a useful basis for classroom discussion. Interestingly, the articles could well be used in the formal study of economics as well as law. And the idea, as the editor implies, is to suggest or postulate practical applications extracted from theory in an accessible way. And the aim obviously is to enhance student understanding of the ideas, aims and concepts which inform theory, which is the way we do quite a lot of stuff, especially in legal studies. The book therefore functions as a useful tool for generating informed and stimulating discussion and debate in the classroom, the lecture hall or the seminar room. And what a time saver when you're engaged in research. You've got a lot of very detailed research links which are very helpful, I think. It's copiously footnoted in the way I've shown and meticulously referenced, so you've got the references and everything at the back. And each chapter is followed by effectively quite an extensive small bibliography to cover that particular area, so it's easier than having it all at the back. And the lengthy index, of course, at the back makes it a lot easier for students as well as instructors to look things up. So if you're either an undergraduate or even a graduate level, we think this book is a valuable find, particularly for students studying intellectual property and related economic issues. And the publication date is cited at 2014, and I'm recording this in the autumn of 2014. You just have a look at it again. There's the front, it's a hardback, there's the back, it's quite light, 300 odd pages. I just want to show you the names of the contributors so you've got an idea. There are a large number, you see them listed there. I'll hold that up for a minute. That gives you some idea of who they are. As I say, most of them are across the board, UK, USA, Netherlands, Australia and so on. So it's a wide area which it covers. I like the book very much. I think it's a very helpful guide. That's what it's called, a guide for teachers and students. That's what it is. And I'm sure you will find it of great benefit within your own studies. And as I've indicated, because it's from Edward Elgar, you are actually at quite a high academic level with this, in the information which is produced, and there are lots of research tips. So thank you to all concerned for an excellent book. Bye-bye.